So, all right, and on second, right, okay. This is 172, print and web design. Patrick Ricky, this is Winona State University spring, let's see here, fall 2024. We're going through basics of design, starting to get into Photoshop. This is kind of a beginning entry into Photoshop at right now. So, so let's see here. By the way, how many of you have the beta software downloaded? So, okay. So if you go into Adobe Creative Cloud, which is this little thing up here at the top, you'll notice that you've got all of these apps down here at the side, and wind up seeing apps, but they're also, right at the moment, I have Photoshop, which is not a, I have the beta version. So if you don't have that, please try to get that installed. If you have any questions on how to install beta software, let me know, because we'll be using the beta software pretty extensively. So, okay. So open up Photoshop, and what we'll wind up doing is doing a few things. Is that new file, and then we'll look at file properties. And then end up looking at things like resolution, resizing, and then things like selections, layers, and adjustments. So let's start out by creating a new file. Let's take a look at things, and I think that we have an Adobe stock photo program. So for a lot of things, we're going to be, let's see here in print, we're going to wind up doing tabloid. And so the things, let's take a look here, is that and I need to share the screen. Okay. So there are a number of different sets of standards that it gives you. So like, say, for example, print, you can see here it says letter 8.5 by 11. So it's a standard letter size. Tabloid is double that, 11 by 17, and that's what you wind up seeing letter or tabloid for everything you see on the bulletin boards. Sometimes for some of my interactive classes, we wind up doing a big ass poster of 24 by 36, but that's not completely usual. Okay. I'm going to click on letter. Oh, let's see. Well, actually, let's go through here. Legal. That's 8.5 by 14. A4, which is I'm used to, which is European, which is almost 8.5 by 11, but not quite. A few of these other things here. 3 by 2, 4 by 6, 5 by 7. And art and illustration. Just basically square boards for art boards and so on. Oh, here we go. 18 by 24. That's a poster. We're going to do 8. We're going to do 11 by 17 because we'll be able to print those out on our color printer in here. Postcard 4 by 6. Just saying that this can give you a lot of things straight out. Actually, that's interesting. For web layout, there are ways that you can wind up doing basically SketchUps for web in here, mobile size for doing mockups of mobile apps, and then here, high definition video size, different things if you want to be altering video or doing titles for videos. But the thing is, right at the moment, what we're doing is that we're going to be doing 11 by 17 because that's what we're going to be working on for poster. And okay. So, these are fairly legible. Okay. Tool sets. Most of you are probably familiar with these, but some of you may not. Let me just do just a little bit of a preview. I'm going to go here. I'm going to select everything. And then I'll just give you a little taste of AI. So, let's see here. Two people, hot air, on a sunset. Let's see what happens there. And that'll just give us something to work with. Let's go do some selections and we'll try to find some stock photography. And then that's what I'll have you be doing your initial exercise on. Okay, well, that wasn't so great, but that's okay. All right, that's fine. Okay. So here is the move tool. Now, the interesting thing about this is that anything that you don't know, you wind up going over and then it'll give you a tooltip. This is actually pretty good.
The Move tool is an essential part of Photoshop, allowing you to move not only individual layers, but entire groups. This makes it a powerful tool for organizing and arranging your workspace. With the Move tool, you can also rotate, skew, and scale your selections. Just make sure the Show Transform Controls options in the options bar is enabled. Once enabled, you'll see transform handles around the corners of your selection. Click and drag these handles to modify your selection. And don't forget, you can quickly access the Move tool at any time by pressing V on your keyboard. The Move tool also has an auto select feature, which allows you to easily switch between selecting layers and groups. To use this feature, simply enable the auto select checkbox in the options bar and choose either layer or group from the drop-down menu. For more precise adjustments, you can use the arrow keys on your keyboard to nudge elements in small increments. And here's an advanced tip. Hold down the Shift key while dragging an element with the Move tool to constrain its movement to a straight line, either horizontally, vertically, or diagonally.
Okay. That's actually really good because it tells you for any one of these tools, like every freaking thing you can do with it, which is great. So the thing is, what does the move tool do? Pardon me?
It moves what you're clicking on, it moves it.
Yeah, but the thing is, depending on what mode you're in, it's interesting that you can wind up clicking on a layer or a group or things like that. That'll be a little bit down the line. The other thing is that one thing that can speed you up a lot is that, did you notice it talked about something called a hotkey? So what's the hotkey for the move tool? V. So the thing is that this, if you get used to the hotkeys, this really speeds up your workflow like mad. So this is like rectangular marquee, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So okay. So and then let's just do. I'm just going to go down through here, rectangular marquee. There's another thing that goes on here is that there are flyout menus. If you hold and click, hold down and click. So there's like a rectangular select tool, and you've got the little marching ants. Then you have elliptical, and you can wind up doing a single row of pixels, which is really useful if you want to do like what they call a rule across something. It's like in a lot of layouts, you wind up having like a single line. And then single column, same thing, vertical rule. Now the difference between this and this, let's see here. Let's just take a look at this just for a second.
The lasso tools in Photoshop provide versatile ways to create custom selections, perfect for making adjustments or creating masks. These powerful tools allow for quick freehand selections as well as beautiful,
almost like painting around. And we'll talk about things like masking
selections with precise line edges. To access the lasso tools, press L on the keyboard or find them in the toolbar. Click and hold the lasso tool icon to reveal the lasso tool and the polygonal lasso tool. The lasso tool lets you make quick freehand selections by drawing around an object or area. The selection will be just as precise as it's drawn. This tool is ideal for quick organic shape selections. To add to the selection, hold the Shift key and draw around additional areas. To remove parts of the selection, hold Alt or Option and draw around the areas you'd like to remove. While using the lasso tool, hold Alt or Option to temporarily convert it to the polygonal lasso tool, allowing for straight lines. When you let go of Alt or Option, it will automatically change back to the lasso tool. The polygonal lasso tool allows you to create custom straight edge selections by clicking on points around objects.
So anyways, what happens is that we'll wind up
simply press the delete key on the keyboard. To close,
going into these three things right after I show you things like yeah, there we go.
The object selection tool is incredibly useful for working on objects that have complex or irregular edges. It automatically detects objects that can be selected, saving you a lot of time compared to manual selection methods. To use the object selection tool, simply click on it from the toolbar or hit W as a keyboard shortcut. When the object finder is enabled in the options bar, you'll automatically see an overlay on selectable objects as you move your mouse around the image. To automatically select an object or region, simply click on it. If you want to add an object to the selection, simply hold Shift and click on it. If you want to remove an object, hold Alt/Option and click on the object to remove it from the selection. If the object that you want to select isn't automatically selected, simply click and drag to draw a rectangular marquee or a lasso around it to automatically select it. After making your selection with the Object Selection tool, you can create a mask to isolate the selected area. This allows you to apply adjustments or edits specifically to the selected objects, giving you more control over image editing.
Okay. So those are real quick. So let's take a look at here under image size. Let's take a look at the properties of the file. So let's go down through these. Mode, you can see that there's a whole bunch of modes here. Grayscale, index color, RGB color, CMYK color. So why would we care about RGB color versus CMYK color? So RGB is basically screen color. You're going to be using this for screens, web, video. CMYK, we'll get into a little bit, is basically having to do with four-color printing. So when you print using cyan, yellow, magenta, and black. The difference between this is that a screen basically is made up of red, green, and blue lights, and they're emitting light into your face. And then so what happens though, but CMYK, what you're actually doing is that you're winding up having things reflecting. So what happens is that what you're seeing is what isn't being absorbed by the print. So it's exactly the opposite of RGB. So that's fun fact on color. Grayscale, basically 256 scales of gray. Basically in color, on these machines, you basically wind up having 256 shades of red, green, blue, or black. That comes a little bit later. That has to do with computer architecture. Lab color multi-channel, we won't have to deal with that. 8 bits per channel. That also goes into some of the math bit that we'll get into. And then, okay. Let's take a look at what we have. So what we have here is 300 pixels per inch. And by this, what we mean is the fact that we basically have a grid of dots or pixels. And so it's got per inch, there's 300 of these little things. And this varies to your application. So does anybody know what's considered as screen resolution? Basically, usually 72. And why isn't it 300? Actually, for a Retina screen on a Mac, it's 144. So why isn't it 300? Take a wild guess. Kind of has to do with these numbers. Got 3,300 pixels wide by 5,100 pixels high. But watch what happens when we take this down to 72 inches. It's now 792 by 1224. Let's do some math. Let's see here. 792 times 1224 That's about 1 million. So let's go back to 300. That's got about 100, and that's got about 1 million pixels to it. And 3,300 times 5,100. That's 16 million. So that's basically 16 times more ones and zeros data and that sort of thing. And what does that basically mean when it comes to when you're saving something out? Or if you have this file that's 16 times as large and then you put it in your website or something like that, or you're trying to transmit it on the web, it's going to be a lot slower. The other thing is that if you're looking at a poster on a wall, you're going to be able to see it a lot closer up, and 300 dots per 72 dots per inch is going to look stair-steppy. You're going to need something with a higher resolution if you're going to be doing something in print. So those are pretty much the standards at the moment. So anyway, oh, that's kind of fun. All right. Let's get in and try to start working with something. Let me know if let's see here. Let me know if when you do Adobe Stock, tell me if the does the Adobe Stock website come up? It should. Does it? Berlin, is it coming up? You don't think so? Pardon me? Under help, I basically put in Adobe Stock. And hopefully it should come up to, got it? Great, okay. Let's think about something that we want to edit. What might be a good subject? So this is a couple things. Is that basically what we're doing right now is we're looking at Adobe Stock because this is something that you can do that we have royalty-free software. I'm royalty-free images that you can use instead of going out to Google. So basically that's why we're doing that at the moment. Let's see here. Hang on. For some odd reason, my machine is barfing a bit when it comes to okay. Adobe Stock, search Adobe Stock, and I think it's going to Safari. Okay. All right. Let's just get an image. And all right. What I think might be a good subject for us to edit that might have a lot of parts to it, that might be something we can cut apart pretty well. Let's see here. What's that? Horse? Or let's see here. Maybe a street scene. Okay, this might be good. That might be good. It's got a good figure in it. Let's say maybe street scene, car. Now, why don't we just take, wait a second, that might work. Okay. All right. A license. And download this. And actually download this one too. Okay, this is pretty cool. I'll take both of these. And I'll just send them over. That'll be in your email. And let's see here. It's Viscom. And let's just go here. I'll send these over to you. It's an email. Pics. And send these over. And yep, there we go. Upload files. Great. And I hope we can do 15 megs. I know we can do at least 12. And okay. Let me know if you get those. So actually, since we're using Airtame, I can do it. So did you get, pardon?
I got them.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Everybody get them? There they are. Okay, good. So grab them, download them. Let's mess around. So, okay. I'm going to go into Photoshop and I'm going to open these two. And we'll take a look. We'll take a look at what they're like. In Photoshop? Okay. Take a look. It's under File and you do Open. and then go over to your downloads, and you should be able to get that. There's another way you can do it. You can go into where your file is, and you can do a command click, and it says open with, and you can do Photoshop, Illustrator, whatever. Got it? Awesomeness. Okay. So usually the cool thing about working on a Mac, there's about like 6 or 7 different ways to go at this stuff, right? So, okay. Well, that's interesting. I've got object finder hooked up on that. Okay. So, fun facts. Let's see. I'm just going to do 2 things real quick. I'm just going to take the rectangular marquee. I'm just going to cut out a couple sections. So, edit. Copy is Command C, and then paste is Command V. So I'm going to do a Command C and a Command V, and then I'm going to use the move thing. See how that kind of moves around. Now, the interesting thing that starts happening here is that, yeah, there's your layers. Okay. And I'm gonna, okay. Where'd my layers go? Okay, let's see here. What's going on down here? What's that? So, okay, here we go. All right. Lower right hand of the screen. Let me just go and pick out another one here. Notice here it says layer 1, background. Now you're seeing one thing that's really powerful with Photoshop. You're using layers. Just command paste. And then so I'm going to take a couple of these. And usually if you click on a spot where there's a information for a layer, it'll usually move it. So, but in this case, I'll just go and where's that piece of where's that layer 1 at? Let's get another chunk. Click on background, CV. Okay. Now, yep, okay. Oh, okay, there's this one too. Yep, here it is. Okay, good. So, notice, see what's going on there with the layers? How they're like pieces of paper stuck on top of each other. So, let's take this little eyeball is showing or not. Let's see what happens when I drag this layer up here. See, it's suddenly on top of this layer. So the thing is what you can do with that is that if you want like a piece of type or something to disappear behind another object, you put it behind something or in front of something. And, this is one thing when you're constructing something, you want to make sure that you're thinking about, how you're constructing things by layers. So say, for example, one thing that I usually wind up doing is something like, Oh, one time I did Gordon Ramsay in a kitchen. So basically I cut out, you had the kitchen, cut out the cook area, and then had that as another layer. And then I put Gordon in between those two layers. So there you go. So anyway, so I'm going to pop over to stock again. And I'm just going to get an old gas pump. Ah, that's great. Okay, cool. Actually, this one's really cool. All right. I'll send this over to you. Now you're going to ask, what's this crazy sucker going to do with these things? All right, let's have a little fun, shall we? Class list. And I'm going to do a couple of things. One thing you may or not be able to do with the normal Photoshop, but you can definitely do it in beta. Hello. Low computer. There we go. Yep. Okay. By the way, I do that because that's something that I have on. So gas pump, that's one of my other domains. Yeah, gas pump. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to be cutting out we'll be cutting out a couple of objects. We'll be scaling it. And hopefully okay, hopefully that'll come over real quick. Okay. So one thing, if you want to get rid of layers, there's a little trash can down here. You just basically click and drag, get rid of your track and get rid of a layer. There's also this little plus here. If you want to duplicate it, actually, you can go and put that in here and make a copy. But I just want to get rid of these. So, and okay. So what I want to try to do is that I want to basically try to bring this gas pump in, put it next to the car, resize it. So I chose this thing because I think that it had a pretty close to the same sort of visual perspective, right? So let's see how this works. Now, another fun thing. Now, we could do these sort of things. So this is, you could do the object selection tool right here. Look at that. This would, there's the object. That's kind of cool. Okay. And let's see over here. And can do that. Or another way we can do this is by the magic wand tool. But notice what happened. You can see the crawling ants around here. We didn't get this white in here. If we wanted to do that, we could hold down Shift key and just add. You notice it has that little plus sign to it. And we can pinch in and see that's clunky. And then the quick selection tool basically deals with edges. And that's also pretty nice. You can usually kind of like paint something in pretty quickly, but I'm going to do something that's even cooler. I'm going to go to select. Look at this, select subject. That wasn't perfect either, huh? So, okay, that's fine. Yep, you just go Command C. Let's go over here, Command V. Look at that. But, there's a little problem, that we still have and by the way, here's the zoom tool, and you can just click and drag in or out. And then there's also the pan tool, and you can just basically move your artboard around. So here's the move tool. We're going to put this kind of like this, but is it the right size? What do you think should be? Actually, one thing I want to do here real quick is I want to use the magic wand tool and click on these white things and then hit delete. Let's just clean up a little bit, shall we? And just click till you get it right. Okay. And so, there we go. That's that. And then this should be this. And I'm using the magic wand tool. I'm just basically then squeezing in real tight, and you can pinch in and pinch out to zoom in and out like the zoom tool. And also you can use 2 fingers and move them around like the pan tool. It works that way too. So, okay. So we've got this. Okay. Is it too big or too small? Too big? Okay. So there's a couple things that it's said in there. It's like with the move, it could say show transform controls. That means that you can mess with this thing in resizing and that sort of thing without doing edit free transform. And the thing is that I don't want to do that quite yet because I want to show you the transform tools. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make this thing a little smaller. How do we do that? We're going to go and edit. There's a couple ways to do it, but this is mainly the way to do it. So transform, we could scale, rotate. Skew means basically taking something like this. Look, you basically like go like to it. Distort it. That means you've got like a grid of points, and then you can basically move those points and basically kind of squash it around a bit. And then perspective. Go in there and play with these. And so I'm going to use free transform. So let's see here. And so here's a set. And then free transform. And okay. Actually, what my issue with things is that there's supposed to be like these little dots that you grab onto, and I'm not seeing them. Okay, let me take a look at this and edit free transform. Oh, I know. Okay, hang on. All right. Edit free transform. There we go. Okay, I just had a little part of it selected. So see these handles around the edges here? So when you see the arrows going diagonally like that, that means that's basically a proportional scale. So you can see here that you can't squash it or stretch it or anything like that. So another function of this is that when you're basically doing something like you're supposed to squash or stretch, you can't do it unless you hold the shift key down. There you go. Munchkin pump. Shack pump. Anyway, never mind. And then when you wind up seeing this having this curved angle, that means you can rotate it. But I'm going to do, that's you know what? That's really good. So if you want to flip it, I just cleared my transform by hitting escape. So image, go to edit. You can go to transform. See down here, you can rotate 180 degrees, which will turn it like that. 90 degrees, which will turn it outside. And then horizontal and vertical. So vertical flips, this thing like that, and horizontal it flips on the y-axis, and then vertical flips on the x-axis. So let's just do that. See, flip horizontal, right? So is that better? Oh. Okay. Well, we'll deal with something like this a little bit later, because the thing is, look, the stuff's upside down. Sure. Yeah. So there we go. And okay. And sometime I might show you how to make a shadow from this thing, but that's a different matter. So another thing that we'll start getting at here, and I'll get into this a little bit more next time because we're at 40. The adjustments like hue and saturation, color balance, brightness and contrast. There's an old style of it and new style of it. I like using the old style because it's a lot easier to use. And notice that I'm saying brightness, contrast, and it almost fits the scene. There we go. Okay. So almost there, right? So I'm going to do one more thing. Here, I'm going to do something pretty funky. And basically, this is as far as we're going this time. I'll give you a little assignment basically to go through and I'll give you a little review sheet, review these things. I'll basically ask you to get a couple images and put them together, basically trying to match them up for for size and position, and select some stuff. So anyway, I'm going to select subject. What's happening here with the car? Okay, I'm going to wind up, and actually, I'm just going to do something real quick. I'm going to do this lasso real quick under here. Actually, I'll wind up just taking this whole thing really fast. It's going to be kind of dirty. Should probably be using magic wand or something, but that's all right. Okay. So I'm going to copy it, paste it, make it invisible. And then what I'm going to wind up doing is I'm going to wind up doing something like this. And this is some magic stuff with the beta software. Generative fill. I'm going to say remove the car. It's taking a little bit. I think I'm asking it something pretty stiff. Look! Is that crazy? Now, got this, got this. Oh, wait a second. Layers. So, what does this mean, though? This means, well, we have to do some more stuff with the with the window stuff, but we have to fix this stuff with the window. But look at this. Not only did we bring in a gas pump, but we changed the position of the car in the layout, you know, without having to completely mangle the rest of the photo. That is stuff that you couldn't do before. And to me, I think this is really kind of a proper use of AI as opposed to, now, if I wanted to do something crazier yet, I could say, pick a type of dog. All right. Give me here it comes. Are we going to have the poodle we want? Huh. Oh. Okay. Here's a poodle. And then all we do is we just wind up going and doing a little marquee select and doing a little select on that. Okay. Another smart objects. We're not going to get into that today. But guess what? We've got a car. We got a poodle. We got stuff like this. So that's fine. Okay. Anyway. Pretty clear? So what happens, I'll have this online as a, I'll have it on a Zoom lecture. You can go back over it. So basically, I have a little assignment. Basically, I just kind of want you to go find a couple images, cut and paste chunks out of it, make a little collage, make sure and use layers, use scale, and if you want, do do some other things, and then just basically, I'm going to ask you to tell me in a little micro doc and that sort of thing, and then there we go. Then we'll I'll get into some other things like adjustments, destructive and non-destructive. Those are super important. Basically, in destruction, adjustment layers, and we might get into selections, but then I want to start talking about posters. So anyway, so I hope this was fun and informative. And I'm going to shut up because that's what I'm supposed to do. And then I will